Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we'll move on to the next chapter of our curriculum, which is noun sentences. So it's Jumlatul Ismiyatu. And there's two types of Arabic sentences. The first is the noun sentences, which is called the Jumlatul Ismiyatu. And this is where the sentence begins with an ism or a noun, normally. And the second type of Arabic sentence is a verb sentence, which is a Jumlatul Fi'liyatu. And the sentence begins with a fi'l or a verb. So we'll discuss noun sentences. So every noun sentence has an is or something equivalent in it. So an equivalent would be are, for example. So the is can be located where there is the first break in the words which are connected in a chain. So what we mean by this is that where the words are connected according to grammar, Arabic grammar, where you see the first break between the words, that's where you put the is there. So the words which are connected in a chain include the harf of jar and the majroor fragment, the harf of nasab and its ism, the idafa, which is made up of a mudaf and a mudaf ilay, the masuf sifa, the pointer fragment, and the harf of ataf, which we discussed these 6 things in previous chapters. So for example, we have inna allaha la yasta'i. So this means certainly Allah is not ashamed. So if we look at the first, which is inna allaha, so certainly Allah, so these two isms are connected. Grammatically they're connected. So because they are harf of nasab, which is the inna, and its ism, which is a lafzul jalala, which is the word Allah, so they're connected to each other, so you don't put an is in between. Then you have the next, which is Allah la yasta'i. So there's no connection between the word Allah and the rest of the sentence, so therefore there's a break in the chain. So the is goes after the word Allah, lafzul jalala. Therefore the sentence would be certainly Allah is not ashamed. And so another example would be anna al-haqqu min rabbihim, that it, which means that it is the truth from their Lord. So annahu, which means that it, is a harf of nasab and its ism. So anna is a harf of nasab, and the hu is actually an attached pronoun, and the original is, the independent pronoun is huwa. So therefore this is a harf of nasab and its ism. So because they're connected, you can't put an is in between them. So the next section will be anna hul haqqu. So there's no connection between the harf of nasab fragment, which is the annahu, and the next ism, which is al haqqu. So there's a break in the chain. So the is goes after the words that it. Therefore it becomes that it is the truth. Now if we just continue, we have al-haqqu min. Now the truth from. Now there's no connection between the ism, al-haqqu, and the harf of jar, which is min. But is already was used, so we can't use it again. So the sentence continues without a second is. So we would just say the truth from. So we're not going to say the truth is from, because we've already used the word is. You can't keep using it. So min rabbihim is a complex fragment, which means from their Lord. So the harf of jar min with the majroor rabbi, which itself is a mudaf, because you can see that it's light and it has no al on it, and the mudaf ilay is the him, which is an attached pronoun, which means they, and the original independent pronoun is hum. So the whole sentence would be anna hul haqqu min rabbihim, which means that it is the truth from their Lord. So another example would be lakum fil ardi mustaqarrun. So for you all is in the earth a place of settlement. So lakum, which means for you all, is a harf of jar and majroor fragment. So the lam is a harf of jar and the kum is the majroor, which is an attached pronoun. The independent pronoun version is antum, which means you all. And then the lakum fil ardi mustaqarrun. So there's no connection between the first harf of jar and majroor fragment, the lakum, and the second harf of jar and majroor fragment, which is fil ardi, because fi is a harf of jar and the al ardi is the majroor. So there's a break in the chain. So the is goes after the first harf of jar fragment, so it becomes, the translation becomes, for you all is in the earth a place of settlement. So common places to find that word is. So you can find it after independent pronouns, we can find it after pointing words, we can find it after the harf of nasab and its ism, we can find it often between a proper and a common word. So finding is after independent pronouns. So we'll just go through these four with some examples. So if the independent pronoun is followed by an ism, they both match in gender and number. So that's the rule. So if you have an independent pronoun and then you have an ism after it, then they both match in gender and number. So an example would be here, nahnu muslihun, which means we, and then we have the word are, which is the equivalent of is. So we are reformers. So nahnu is the independent pronoun, which means we. It's rafa and it's plural, because remember, independent pronouns are always rafa, and it's plural. And then the muslihuna is an ism, and again it's rafa, because of if you look at the ending combination, it's the wa and the noon, which is the masculine rafa version, and it's plural as well because of the ending combination, the wa and the noon. So again, both the independent pronoun and the ism match in gender and number. So they're both masculine, they're both rafa, and they're both plural as well. And so here we have hum, another example, hum al-mufsiduna, so they are corruptors. So hum is an independent pronoun, it's rafa, it's plural, and it's masculine as well. And then al-mufsiduna, which is the ism, and again it's rafa because of the ending combination, the wa and the noon, and it's plural again because of the ending combination, the wa and the noon, and it's masculine as well, because we recognize that from the ending combination too, that it's masculine. Just like when we remember the mu'minuna chart, so it's mu'minuna, just like this, mufsiduna. So again, the independent pronoun and the ism match in gender and number, as well as status. So finding is after pointers. So if the word after the pointing word, does not have al on it, it cannot be a pointing fragment. So meaning whatever is pointed to, if it doesn't have an al on it, it can't be a pointer fragment. Then instead a sentence is formed, and then we put an is placed after the pointing word and before whatever it's pointing to. And this is something we've discussed in previous chapters as well, the difference between a pointing fragment and a pointing sentence. So if pointing word is followed by an ism and it doesn't have an al on it, then they match in gender and number as well. So here's an example. So we have hazihi jahannamu. I think this is the same example we used in the pointer section. So it means this is hell. So hazihi is a pointing word. It's rafa. We assume that it's rafa because there's no reason for it to be anything else. So if you remember, the pointing words, the singular and the plural versions are non-flexible. So hazihi is in rafa is hazihi, in nasab status is hazihi, and as well as jar status is still hazihi. But in this case, there's no reason for it to be for it to be nasab or jar. So we assume that it's rafa because that's always the default status. It's singular, it's feminine, and it's proper because pointing words are always proper. And jahannamu, and this is what is pointed to, it has no al on it. It's rafa because of the dhamma at the end. It's singular, it's feminine because the Arab said so, and it's proper because it's the name of a place. And that's one of the categories that makes something proper. So what is pointed to has no al on it, even though all four ism properties match between the pointer and what it points to. Therefore, because what it points to has no al on it, therefore this is not a pointer fragment, it is a pointer sentence. So therefore we put the word is in between the two. So the meaning is this is hell. So here zalika kitabun, so that is a book is the translation. So zalika is a pointing word. So again we assume that it's rafa, there's no reason for it to be anything else. It's singular, it's masculine, and it's proper because pointing words are proper. And the word kitabun, again, this is what is pointed to, but it has no L on it. It is rafa because of the dhamma, it's singular, it's masculine because there's no reason to make it feminine, and it's common. So what is pointed to, it's common because remember there's no L on it, and there's no reason for it to be proper, so it doesn't fall into one of the categories of proper, so therefore it's common. So what is pointed to has no L on it, and all four ism properties do not match either because the pointing word is proper and what is pointed to is common. So the four ism properties don't match either, so therefore it's not a pointing fragment, it is a sentence. So the translation will be will include the word is in between the pointing word and what it points to, so it becomes that is a book. And so the next is finding is after the harf of nasab and its ism. So the ism, the is comes after the harf of nasab and its ism. So example, if we have a inna allaha shadidul iqabi, so certainly Allah is intense in punishment. So inna allaha is the harf of nasab and its ism. So inna is the harf of nasab, and the lafzul jalala, the word Allah is the ism of the harf of nasab. And then inna allaha shadidul iqabi, so there's no connection between the harf of nasab and its ism and the next ism, which is shadidu. There's a break in the chain, so therefore the is goes after the harf of nasab and its ism. So the translation will be certainly Allah is intense in punishment. And you notice that shadidul iqabi is actually an idafa fragment, because if you look at shadidu, it's light and there's no al on it. And therefore, if you look at iqabi, it's jar in status because it's a mudaf ilayh. So it's a mudaf, shadidu is the mudaf, and the iqabi is the mudaf ilayh. So finding is between a proper and a common word. So a proper word followed by a common word, is goes between them. So two words usually match in gender and number. So example here would be Allahu Sami'un Alimun. So Allah, which means Allah is all hearing, all knowing. So the lafzul jalala, the word Allah, is rafa because of the dhamma. It's singular, it's masculine, and it's proper. Whereas Sami'un, it's rafa because of the dhamma. It's singular, it's masculine, but it's common. It's not proper. There's no reason to make it proper. It doesn't fall in any of the categories. And alimun, again, it's rafa because of the dhamma, the dhammatain, and it's single, it's masculine, and it's common. Again, there's no reason to make it proper. So therefore, Allahu Sami'un Alimun, there's no connection between the word Allah, the lafzul jalala, and the next two isms, the Sami'un and Alimun. So there's a break in the chain. The is goes in between the proper and common words. So the proper is the lafzul jalala, the word of Allah is proper, and the other two isms are, or the next ism is common, which is sami'un. So therefore the is goes in between the proper and the common words. So therefore the translation is Allah is all hearing, all knowing. So as per usual, when we reach the end of a chapter, we always advise to go over the vocabulary list chapter at the end of this book. Ideally at the end of every session, this curriculum is studied so that your Arabic grammar knowledge increases with your vocab knowledge, inshallah.